Hey there. Today we're on episode 11 of the Film Wants podcast, and today we're talking all things 2018 with our top 10 movies of 2018. We're a bit late recording this in March, but we all had a bunch of movies we wanted to see before we dropped this podcast, all right? There's specifically one, which we'll get into later, that your boys had to see before we dropped this list. As always, I'm joined by Victor Nolan.
Hello.
Hey there.
And as promised, joined by Matt McKenzie of
Hello.
Matt McKenzie Reviews. Yeah.
Contemporary cinema master.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This is what I want to point out. So, everyone whip out your list real quick.
44 movies. I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say two. I have 50.
Okay, I think I'm at 52 here. Now, Matt, how many...
46, sorry.
How many did you end up with here?
I believe 108 or 109.
So,
Take that in.
that you take any two of us between Victor and Nolan, put our numbers together,
And Matt has still seen more.
and Matt is still see more. I'm at 50, so yeah, ridiculous numbers on this guy for 2018 releases.
There's a lot of shit in there, though.
Yeah, well,
That's expected. I'm sure there's
I was gonna
Yeah.
say,
Lots of
obviously
money being spent at the movie theater.
quality over quantity here. I feel like Victor, Nolan, and I, we give less movies chances than you do, which is like
That's fair.
super respectable.
I respect it, yeah.
Yeah, like
You're about the
I
cinema.
definitely agree with that.
yeah,
Shall we get to it?
yeah. Let's get into it. So, we're gonna start off with Nolan here because I've already decided that I don't want to go first because I always go first on these lists. So, Nolan, drop us with your number 10 of 2018.
All right, my number 10, it was very, very high earlier on in the year. I even said at one point that this could be my favorite movie of the year so far. But so many other good movies came out that I bumped it down to 10, but I still think that it's an amazing movie, and that is Ari Aster's Hereditary. I think that it is one of the best horror movies that has come out in recent years, mainly due for just the atmosphere that it gives off and because of the astonishing performance from Toni Collette. And I saw this movie in the theaters. I don't know about you guys. I think you all did. I know Matt did. Oh, what?
I
You didn't?
No.
What?
I saw it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters, and I was really annoyed that I saw it in theaters.
Why?
Well, I'll let you finish. Like, it's a dumb little thing, but the theater I saw it in was full of people who were obviously like really, really high, and everyone in the theater was just going.
Oh,
It was so annoying.
Well, I saw it with some annoying people in my theater too, and I got up and changed my seats. I was beside some annoying people, so I
my
walked
entire
down.
theater was like super
Yeah.
rowdy. Everyone was just like going, and like all the other kids would start laughing, and it wasn't like changing my seating orientation wouldn't change it because they were everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Man. It was really bad.
Yeah, well, anyways, just seeing it in the big screen was really cool because there's basically no jump scares in the whole movie. The scares that it just purely relies off of horrific situations. Why are you shaking your head?
There's some jump scares, but they're mainly through editing. They're not like suspense. Like, I really like one of the jump scares too. Like the head.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love
okay,
the head.
There's
dude.
no traditional
Yeah,
cliche
they do it
jump
differently,
scares.
which
Yeah.
like
It's not through the score. It's
Anyways.
not-
also I just wanted to say that like another thing that really annoyed me about seeing it in that conditions in the theater was like how the reliance on sound, because sound's so big in that movie.
Yeah, it's very important. It's a very quiet movie, and then all of a sudden these really loud sounds will come in that you're supposed to pay attention to. But yeah, just Toni Collette's performance is insane, and seeing it on the big screen, if it's the right environment, there's no annoying people around you.
Mm-hmm.
You just get drawn into this spooky atmosphere, and all the scares come at such a surprise. And there will be even these scares that don't even have any noises, where you just see something in the background and you sort of lose your shit. But yeah, I think it's one of the best horror movies of recent years, and I'm looking forward to what Aster's going to do next. So
Yeah, Midsummer trailer looked dope.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Another thing I like about Hereditary is the little girl.
Yeah, she's so.
It's
fucking
kind of mean to say,
terrifying.
but she looks like fucking like bizarre. But like, it's all the better for the movie.
Yeah, see, they just kept doing that. Like, and there were 10 of them, and it was just like, okay, it was funny the first time, guys, but you're really killing your own joke here.
I didn't like how Toni Collette was just all take her to the party or whatever.
Yeah.
That was so
And
dumb.
how do you not carry an EpiPen on you? That's all I'm saying. Like, really?
Yeah.
She's that allergic to peanuts, and they don't carry
That's
an
what bothered me
EpiPen?
the most. Anyways, yeah.
Great movie though.
Yeah, I really like the way it deals with grief, too. Like, that theme is really
grief?
well... Grief. Whatever, I can't say it. All right. It's really well explored in the movie.
Yeah,
All right.
I know what you mean.
All right. List of words not to say. Grief.
Alright, moving on to Matt here.
All right, similarly, oh my god, I got bad words too. Similarly to you with Hereditary, this is a horror movie from earlier in the year that I loved, and it was a tough choice for number 10, but I'm sneaking it in, and it's Annihilation. Some of the dopest sound design of the year, cool concept. I watched it again recently. The scenes that stick out still stick out to me.
Hell
I
yeah.
remember when I was in the theater, some guy pulled out his phone, and the movie started at 7, and I thought his phone said it was 8 o'clock, and I was like, fuck, I can't do another hour of this thing. It's fucking me up too much.
Yeah.
It turned out I was wrong, and there was like half an hour left, but still, it's just freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I love it. I love that movie so much. And
Yeah, some fantastic scenes. I mean,
Yeah.
just the man bear pig thing.
The man bear pig from South Park. Pretty
There's just-
legit.
The
It-
ending.
it's ear
The ending was...
ear rape, but in the best
Yeah,
way.
exactly. It's so good.
It just
Yeah,
is so intense.
it's
yeah.
a pretty good reimagining of Stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, narratively there's similarities, but I think stylistically there are two completely different approaches.
Yeah, I really like how they use like body horror in it, and it really reminded me of the TV show Hannibal, which like does it really well too.
I love when the plant shit with
Yeah,
it.
the fungus
That was awesome.
growing out of the body.
Yeah.
Just
Lots
I
of
guess,
cool imagery.
Yeah, lots of cool
that-
imagery going on.
It kind of gave me a Cronenberg
Yeah,
sort of
points.
tone to it. At points, obviously.
Yeah, and those are the scenes that really stuck out for me. As far as like story, like it was like a little weaker in my opinion, but like images, like there's no denying how like they can easily like stick out in your mind and like you said, give you that horrific feel of like
Totally.
There was so much shit that I was like, this is stuck in my brain and I'm not sleeping.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, might be talking about it later. You never know.
Yeah. Who knows? All right.
Moving on to Kirky boy.
Moving on to mine, keeping on with this horror trend here.
Jeez.
My second favorite horror movie of 2018, Suspiria. All right. This is like a really good reimagining of
Lad up.
yeah, lad up on that one, guys, because
There's a reason why I'm saying that up, but go on.
Suspiria. Wait. Okay, never mind.
All right.
Suspiria's great. All right, you have a great cast. How do you pronounce this director's name? Is it
Luca
Guadagnino.
Guadagnino.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, he does a really excellent job of taking what Dario Argento did with the original Suspiria, and just taking that vibe, I guess, and transforming it into his own thing. Like, it stands completely on its own, and that's what I love about it. I think you can obviously make comparisons between the two films, but to me, they have their own unique feels, and I love each film for different reasons, and I feel like they can exist in the same space, and you can get completely different vibes and tones from each one, which I do love about that, because we're in a space where so many movies get remade and retold over and over again. Like, think about Friday the 13th. They're like a ridiculous amount of those movies, or Halloween, and it's just the same story getting retold over and over again, and there's no originality to it. But Suspiria managed to hold on its own. I really
It's so different.
yeah, I really gave it value for that, because that's not something that happens very often.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And like I said, great cast. Tilda Swinton.
She kills it.
Lutz Ubersdorf.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Best actor in the movie.
Yeah.
No, still best actress. Like when Kate Blanchett played Bob Dylan, she won Best Actress award.
But Tyler Perry.
Yeah,
won
but
worst.
that's Razzies. Yeah, Suspiria.
Oh wait, no, that's never mind.
All right, well, lad up.
Light up on that
Definitely a
one.
good dance horror movie of 2018.
Yeah.
So, going on to my number 10. I'm heartbroken by my own decision, but you'll see why in our honorable mentions podcast. But my number 10 will have to be Burning by, what is the director's name again?
I think
It's one of those three.
Lee Chang-dong.
Yeah. Burning doesn't give you many answers throughout, if any at all, and the movie's all the better for it. I mean, all throughout, you don't really understand what's going on. You don't really understand characters' motives. You don't understand what character is doing.
Some character motives.
Okay.
Well,
some.
okay, yeah, but there's two sides to it. It's
There's
like
two sides to
this
the coin.
motive could be this way,
Exactly.
or
I'm-
this
I'm-
motive
I'm a
could be
whole lot for
completely the
Yeah.
other way. We got to talk about Burning a little bit because
I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the list.
Oh,
later into
true,
the list.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything here. But
Okay.
I got lots to say about.
I was just a little devastated that it had to be cut from my list.
True.
So that's the only
Yeah.
reason why I said that.
No,
Because I want to
but-
talk about it.
Yeah, I was just compelled the whole time. I mean, Stephen Yeun is fantastic. The main character calls him like a great Gatsby, which is so true. He's
So perfect.
he's such a mysterious
There-
figure that you don't really know anything about, but he has this like wealth, this charisma, and he's just every time he's on screen, I'm just like frightened, and I don't even know why, just because of the mystery that he's shrouded in the entire time.
Yeah.
There are many great Gatsbys in this country, or whatever. That
Yeah,
line is so
exactly.
good.
Yeah.
So freaky though. It depending on which interpretation you go with.
Totally. We can't get too into it though because Matt hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I have to get around
I meant
to it.
talking
Yeah.
about it without.
Yeah,
Spoiling
but
anything.
beautifully shot. I mean, Jaime's naked dance is one of like the most beautiful sequences of the year.
Couldn't agree more.
I don't think the score is being talked about enough. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've seen many reviews for this movie and I haven't seen the score being brought up enough.
Boom.
It's so foreboding and
Boom.
it does a lot for the movie. And so Burning.
Boom.
Boom.
It's such a good score. I totally agree with
fantastic score. And crazy ending.
you. Nuts.
The way that class dynamics are portrayed in the movie, there's a few really brilliant moments of that, which I won't get into, because again, Matt, you still have to see it. And,
I think there's more than a few, but the entire movie to me is that. But
okay,
yeah, I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
All right,
there's
Great
one that really
pick.
stood out to me. But
great pick.
It's a fantastic pick.
I am heartbroken that I had, but let's move on to Nolan's number 9.
Leaning. First Reformed, number 9. Let's move on because we're going to talk about it later.
Really? You
don't wanna
should
say
I just
anything?
drop some thoughts?
Drop some thoughts now, my guy.
You have a quick 15 seconds.
Okay, 15. Paul Schrader almost perfectly adapts Winterlight and Taxi Driver into one movie. It's basically a remake of Winterlight for the first half, set in more of a modern frame. Then the second half, it just goes completely berserk, turns into a Taxi Driver-esque film with a crazy ending that is kind of another, similar to Burning. You try to figure out what it means. And Ethan Hawke is fucking brilliant in it. And the ending is probably my favorite of the year. So
Yeah.
All
yeah,
good
we'll
movie.
talk about it later.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, number 9 here.
So while I was making this list, number 9 for ages has been a documentary. It's just been about which documentary. So I've been bouncing back and forth a lot. But I'm going with Free Solo. I saw it in theaters, and there's a lot of cheese. There's some moments that are kind of dumb. But just the way they capture the main event of it is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And like the stuff leading up to the climb is so for the most part, but it makes it more exciting when you actually get to it.
I was interested for the stuff before.
It gets the stakes really going.
It gets the stakes really high, and it's like
you see how many people care about him.
Yeah.
And then how the stakes are so fucking high because they can kill him the whole time, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they fuck anything up, he's dead. If he fucks anything up,
totally.
he's dead.
That was my favorite aspect of the film. Easily this
insane.
Reflexive moment of, like, discussing the actual ethics of the film itself.
Yeah,
like, I could see my friend die, and the fact that they were able to like express that in the movie made it all the more better for me. Especially because these characters, the filmmaker and the subject itself, have this relationship that's already expressed. They know each other previously. It's not like they're meeting for the first time here. And it just makes the stakes so high.
That's
it
also
really
one of
does.
my favorite aspects of the movie itself is the ethics of the whole project.
Yeah. But not only that, just beautiful film.
It really is.
Like the rock climbing.
Great cinematography.
Also the character of the girlfriend. You just feel sorry for her.
She got a good shout out at the Oscars.
Yeah. Although
that was a little
a little too much.
Alex was kind of standing there like, oh?
With his big ears.
Yeah, no kidding.
With his big ears, like, okay, buddy.
Also, if I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's, you know, those videos where actors like look at their signature performances.
Yeah, he analyzed climbing scenes.
I watched that.
Loved it.
Yeah,
I didn't watch
highly
it,
recommend that video if anyone gets a chance to, because he like is so knowledgeable about rock climbing. Like, it's ridiculous.
And the best thing is there's he's
Yeah.
like analyzing some movies that do it badly, but he's just like, this is fun. Who gives a shit?
He loves it.
Yeah.
Anything rock climbing related, he's
like
so
the new
passionate.
Point Break, he's like, this is stupid, but it looks so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one I definitely enjoyed.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic.
For sure.
And seeing it on the big screen was pretty crazy. I know we all got the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. I mean, there were some things about it that we didn't like.
Yeah.
Specifically the ones where he does that whole documentary thing where the editing is a little bit awkward and it takes away from the realistic elements of the film. But when it is realistic and it is those genuine moments of heartbreak or actually climbing the mountain, it's just so exhilarating.
Yeah, it's a great choice.
All right, right on. Now I'll go into my number 9, which has been a long time coming for this movie. I did not expect this to be on my list, and I did not expect to love it so much. And that's Avengers Infinity War. All right? Yeah. I don't even care. I put a blockbuster, one of the biggest blockbuster blockbusters
It's a good movie.
on my
it's
list.
a good movie.
Oh my god, this film is epic. Like, the proportions it takes it to, and the amount of characters it juggles and manages to juggle well is insane to me. It's an extremely long runtime, but it just works for me because basically it's this reward for watching all these other mediocre to good movies.
Yeah.
But
some bad.
Some bad.
Bad to mediocre.
Yeah. Like, you have your Thor 2s and Iron Man 2s.
And Black Panther.
Oh, dude, you said you liked Black Panther.
No, I definitely didn't.
Oh, you didn't. True. Black Panther's dope.
Okay, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, you threw me completely off there. But yeah, watching all these movies, it's really just a payoff and a good one at that. Yeah, I would have never expected it to be on my list. If you asked me in 2017, but it feels right at home among my favorite movies of the year for me.
I remember when you logged it and you gave it 5 stars, you didn't review or anything, so I thought you were memeing.
Nah. At one point, I thought it was a 5-star movie. The reason I initially lowered it was because I watched it with someone who wasn't a Marvel movie fan, and they just didn't get it at all. And I was like, yes, this is a fatal flaw of the movie. if you haven't watched all these others, this movie's pointless and it's not
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Because you need that investment going in. And this is the only movie I want to talk about spoilers in the ending with, because like this movie's become a meme, the ending. All right. They kill off most of the characters, which is like ridiculous. The fact that they could do this. And the way they do it is so brilliant though, because they don't kill off any of the main
Killed off.
Well,
in big quotations.
Yeah, killed off, but like whatever. I thought
I was blown
still...
away when I was in the theater, but 15 minutes after leaving, I was like, they're not sticking with it.
No.
I have a year of Tom Holland being dead, and my girlfriend has a huge crush on Tom Holland, so I'm running with it.
But
fair enough.
Keep this in mind. Who do they kill off? They kill off all the new characters, and it feels so wrong because they kill off Spider-Man, who obviously is getting a sequel, Doctor Strange, who's obviously getting a sequel, and they keep around the original ones who have been around forever. Their contracts are expiring, and it feels wrong. And the reason they did that is to get us used to the idea of the original guys dying, right? Which is brilliant, like, in my opinion. It's just based off the idea of the cinematic universe itself, and like it's super commercial, but I just think they do it so well, and it's incredible filmmaking.
I do think that the end of that film had kind of an Empire Strikes Back kind of feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's Thanos' film. Like, they've made that clear. It's the villain's
and
movie.
He's a great villain, and that's why I gave that movie more credit than I give other MCU films.
And because they've had trouble with the villains for a long time.
Oh, most of the villains in Marvel films are just
suck.
I can't recall
terrible.
a single one other than Thanos.
I like a few, but like
there's Jeff Bridges in the first Iron Man, but that's
the Mandarin. I like the Mandarin.
That's only because he's
that's
the
all
dude.
I'm saying.
Loki's not bad.
Also, movie with the most meme potential. You gotta shout out the meme potential, because
First Reformed had some awesome memes during the
No.
Oscars.
We're talking about mainstream memes here, all right?
Okay,
you
mainstream.
You got your finger snaps. You got your Drake doing the look away dab thing bad, except it's Thanos, and then like the snap where he's doing something good.
Totally.
You have the crab rave dance, except it's Thanos. Put that in here. And then you have I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. My favorite film meme of 2018. Gonna drop that now.
Nice.
Best film meme of 2018. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. All right, that's my number 9 pick.
All right, my number 9. We've mentioned it already, and we did a podcast on it. Suspiria 2018 by Luca Guadagnino. Like I said in the podcast, this movie isn't perfect, but it's the sheer ambition of this film and every shot that they take and that they almost get so perfectly that just impresses me so much and makes me love this film so much. I mean, everything about Tilda Swinton's performance, how many themes it juggles, awesome choreography.
The dream scenes.
The dream scenes are fantastic. All the performances. I mean, we've talked about this quite a bit.
The mirror scene where she's like being all distorted to the dance.
The Olga scene is like one of my favorite scenes of the year,
that was
hands
nuts.
down.
I texted you after I watched that.
Yeah. Crazy scene. I was shaking in the theater.
And
during
the
that
editing
scene.
of that scene too.
Yeah.
It just
So
is a
good.
perfect example about how a movie can have a lot of cuts, but it has purpose to the cuts and shows us the perfect amount of cause and effect between two different things going on in two different locations. Whereas you have another movie with a lot of cuts like Bohemian Rhapsody.
You must be Freddie Mercury.
You've got a gift.
Okay, that's a pretty good film.
That's my favorite meme.
That's
of the
my
year.
favorite meme. Yeah.
But anyways, I was just trying to, it just shows that you need edits they need to have a purpose.
The editing's fantastic, and like you said, it's so purposeful. Unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, that rapid editing is just ridiculous. But the opening scene with Chloe Grace Moretz, the editing in that scene is just ridiculous, and you totally just get in the mind of her character and how paranoid she is, and like
crossing the axis.
All these things are attacking her that we don't see, like just in her mind, and it's brilliant the way it's portrayed through the editing. So Yeah, that's my number 9 pick.
Awesome.
Yeah, just picked this one up on Blu-ray recently, and I can't wait to go through all the dream sequences.
Oh, and pause every
every
moment.
image and absorb these images fully. That
They're awesome.
in the way I wasn't able to in the theater because they were just douche, 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 and you're like,
and the
holy
sound during
shit.
those scenes are so creepy.
I know.
Like the faint little whispering and like
it like
yeah.
extends in it. Oh my god,
it's crazy. Yeah, there's some of the like the best horror scenes period in this movie.
I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah.
Before we move on to your number 8, Nolan, just gonna put Matt on the spot here. You guys dropped your favorite film-related memes of 2018. Matt, what's yours?
Oh shit.
We can come back to you.
We'll come back
to you.
Okay, Mr. Stark is up there.
Yeah, Mr. Stark's legit.
I also just love the Bird Box ones because it's such a stupid movie to have memes of.
Yeah, that movie is
it's
awesome.
Wait, have you seen
It's
Bird Box?
I like.
It's such a it's a mediocre
Kind of,
movie.
yeah.
How was it, Victor?
Hilarious, but I was a little under the influence while watching it.
True.
But it was hilarious. I would recommend it.
Which is
For a goofy
to laugh at it, of course.
Yeah.
just the fact that such a mediocre movie that wouldn't matter if it
I
came
know.
out in theaters
I
has
know.
so many memes. I like that.
Sandra Bullock, man.
I like the meme
Great actor.
of like, have you seen Surreal Entertainment remake Bird Box?
No.
Okay, I'll have to
Bird
show you
Box.
guys this after because it's ridiculous. All right, number 8.
Are we going to number 8?
Mm-hmm.
So number 8 on my list, my 8th ranked film of the year.
The
Number
8th grade.
Gucci! 8th grade. This movie brought tears to my eyes. I fucking love it. Elsie Fisher, just holy shit, this performance.
Oscar snub.
Yeah.
Oscar fucking snub hard.
Burning too.
And Toni Collette, she was, like I said, she was amazing in Hereditary. Elsie Fisher, even better. One of the best child performances I've ever seen.
Would
And
you
also-
consider that a child though? Like, is preteen, teen?
Okay,
like
a kid performance, whatever.
No, I'm asking serious, like, because I don't know, because
I consider that a child performance. Yeah.
I'm legitimately just asking.
Yeah, I guess.
I consider anything like under 16 like a child.
Okay,
performance.
yeah, I think that works. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's all good. Anyways, every line of dialogue in this movie is fucking perfect. Just the level of authenticity Bo Burnham went to perfectly portray what middle school is like for people nowadays. Also, he did a really good job of balancing cell phone use, the way you incorporate that into a film. And we've talked about it in person before. The bonfire scene is just
Makes me weep.
it's unreal.
It's
unreal.
incredible, yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It was just a beautiful movie for me.
Wait, Nolan, why do you have a banana there? I thought you hate bananas.
Oh, fuck.
So good.
Oh,
the
so
father.
cringy.
The father.
Yeah.
He's so good.
The movie is very cringy in the best way possible, though.
Totally.
If-
It's in such an authentic way. Like, it really brought me back. Like, I remember that when I was, like, a kid making cringy photo booth YouTube videos, like, and just, like, the pool party, like...
The pool party.
So many of these scenes,
The-
I'm like, oh, I remember going
Yeah.
through this. I remember doing this.
The kid at the pool party who goes up to her after
Hilarious.
just going underwater all the way through. That kid is me. I'm that kid at the pool party who's trying to make it all the way across and challenge people to handstands.
That kid's sick.
Instead of Rick and Morty references, though, you just quote The Social Network.
Yeah.
You're like, you know what would go great with these nuggets?
Bong hit.
But yeah, dude, their little McNugget playdate is just fucking golden.
It's so cute,
Yeah,
man. Like
it's so cute.
the movie is just so
Keep
precious
doing the
to me.
voice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is just a precious movie to me, and I love
very
it.
precious. Great pick.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on to Matt.
Yeah.
Alright, I gotta scope the list. Because I forget what I
Let's
have.
whip out the old list here.
Oh yeah, so this is a movie that after I saw, I was very, very hyped on, and I had it number 1 for a few months, and I have now come way down to earth, but it's still in there. Mission Impossible Fallout,
Nice.
which is,
Awesome.
I'd consider the best blockbuster of the year. Just, it's 2.5 hours long, but it flies by, and it's so thrilling.
I think that's my number 1 blockbuster too.
It's my number 2. I don't know. Sorry, go on.
Just the fucking stunts they do.
Oh.
It's like, usually Tom Cruise is upping himself movie to movie, but then in this one he's upping himself
Scene by scene.
Yeah.
He's riding a motorcycle through oncoming traffic. He's hanging off a helicopter.
Yeah.
He jumped out of an airplane like 100 times.
Jeez.
The skydiving scene
insane.
is nuts.
I watched an interview
The guys are
and they were
maniacs.
like, "Oh yeah, this scene was like 99% perfect," and then Tom Cruise was like, "All right, shit, we gotta do it again. Gotta get the 100%."
He just
Took
goes
100
balls
times to
the
get
wall.
that
Yeah, he
100%.
Apparently,
He goes 101%.
That's what I love about Tom Cruise is I love him as
gives
an
such a shit.
actor, but he really cares about the cinematic experience. And that's what he
Totally.
wants to give us with these Mission Impossible movies, and he fucking gives it to us.
Shout out to that PSA where he tells people to turn off the
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is that called again? Motion
the
smoothing.
motion smoothing, yeah.
Yeah.
He
That's
cares
pretty
about the
legit because
experience.
it shows that
Mhm.
Yeah.
they actually care about this
Well,
movie.
also, okay, so you know the editor of Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oscar winner. Anyways, he was the editor on Valkyrie, which is another Tom Cruise movie. And apparently Bryan Singer was never there to help him edit the film. So Tom Cruise was there every day in post-production, like
Oh,
helping
shit.
the editor how to structure the film and how the film should be.
Yeah.
So I just think Tom Cruise has this love and passion and want for the audience to have this cinematic experience, and
Totally.
I love
Yeah,
your
sure.
pick.
One of
That's
the
a great
best
pick.
modern day auteurs.
I was literally just I had that pulled up on my phone. The article.
Yeah. We need to screenshot that. And
Yeah,
show, 'cause
I'll show this.
Wikipedia has a
A list of film auteurs. and
list
he's
of
listed
film
there.
auteurs, and it's just a bunch of directors and then
And
Tom
then Tom
Cruise.
Cruise.
Yeah.
oh, going back to memes, I've got a new choice. Henry Cavill reloading his biceps in the big bathroom fight.
Oh, yeah.
So funny.
The GIF.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved this movie.
Yeah, it's an awesome pick. I was
Great
pretty
action
hyped up
movie.
on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Some fantastic scenes.
All right.
Moving on to Kirk over here.
Moving on to my number 8 pick. This wouldn't have made my list if we did this podcast a week ago. And that's Gaspar Noé's Climax. It jumped really high up from pretty down on my list to my number 8 slot, and that's because I saw it in theaters. The cinematic experience is insane. All right.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We're going to talk about this movie a lot more later, so I'll just give my 2 cents. I think this film is definitely something you need to experience yourself, and it's definitely Gaspar Noé's most accessible film from the ones I've seen, and that reflects in its reception at Cannes. I think Gaspar Noé himself was even surprised how well it got received at the festival.
That's not saying a lot that it's his most accessible film.
Well, I'm recommending it to our audience.
I know what you mean. It's,
Like
it's
if
still
you're
fucked
gonna
up, though.
if you're gonna go out there and try and experience a Gaspar Noé film, I'd highly recommend going to see Climax while it's in theaters. The cinematography and the choreography of the dancing's insane. Gaspar Noé is ridiculous for shooting all his own films, and he shot this entire thing by himself. He's a cinematic. He loves the cinema, and you can really feel that in Climax. Soundtrack's amazing. Daft Punk, Aphex Twin, Soft Cell, like just so many dope tracks. I can never listen to that the Daft Punk song plays during one of the most fucked up scenes in the movie. And
Rolling and scratching.
Yeah, scratching and something, right?
It's rolling and scratching.
Rolling and scratching.
Oh,
my god. Yeah.
Yeah, don't say it.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the fact that more than, I don't know the exact percentage, but there's a ridiculous amount of this movie that's done in one take. And the extent in which those long takes are done is just insane. Like, I have no idea how they did that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Spike Lee. Like, if Gaspar Noé was there, Spike Lee would be like,
Yeah.
yo, how'd you do that shot? How'd you get that shot?
My man.
My man. yeah, great depiction of, I guess, a heaven transformed into a hell. That's like a reading that Nolan, you like really stuck in my head after my first experience watching it, because I watched it with both you and Victor. And yeah, climax number 8.
It's a great movie. Yeah, great pick.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
My number 8 pick would be the new Lars von Trier film, The House That Jack Built.
Fame.
This movie is just ridiculous. Like, I don't really know if it's good or bad, but it's it's such an interesting experience. It really feels like the product of a guy who's just like totally wacky and just like who's lost his mind. But the entire thing, it's so self-loathing, and like it just feels like he's exposing himself, and it's just nuts. It feels like such a personal film to Lars von Trier, and just that level of putting yourself out there and exposing yourself is something I really enjoyed watching.
Putting yourself out there. 8th grade. Gucci.
Weird linkage of those two movies. Yeah.
8th grade and House That Jack Built. Double bill.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're both artists.
Yeah. This movie is equally hilarious and disturbing. Matt Dillon's performance is fantastic. Maybe my favorite of the year. This movie is just so exciting
he's
in all the weirdest ways possible, and I really loved watching it.
Soundtrack, fantastic.
Yep.
Ending, top notch.
Yeah, there's one shot in the ending that's just awesome.
The recreation of the painting.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Me and Victor were dying in the theater when that came out.
Yeah.
And they hold that for so long.
I know.
We were both like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, it's a great movie. I love the way he shoots his movies. I know, well...
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the way he shoots his movies, but that's just a personal thing.
I think it fits very well with like the content of his films.
It fits well for me here.
Yeah.
I've personally thought about upping my rating, but also lowering my rating.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's so interesting. It feels so honest, and it's so provocative, which is something I like. So
yeah.
Sometimes I think he's a little too obvious with his allegory too. It's just like,
I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree.
We get it.
He does annoying things in this movie for sure, but like I said, it doesn't bother me just because it's so interesting, and it just feels like
there were some things that you're alluding to, Kirk, that definitely pissed me off a little bit. Like him showing clips from his previous films. I know it didn't bother you as much, but it was really just like, seriously, man, to me. But I still really enjoyed the movie, even though it was laced with all this
sense of self-importance,
self-loathing,
self-importance. Yeah. All right,
great pick.
Yeah, Nolan, numero 7.
Numero 7.
7.
No, you guys might be a little upset this is so low on my list, but I think it's an amazing movie, and that is Alfonso Cuarón's Roma. Sorry, I apologize, but it was awesome, okay? The movie's great. I've seen it twice now, once at home, once in theaters. Definitely the second time was better than the first in the theater. I think it is a technical achievement. The fact that Cuarón was able to get this performance out of this actress who's never acted in a movie before was just mind-blowing. She's fantastic in the film. The black and white and the deep focus works so well. It's this slice of life. I said in our podcast on Roma that it to me, it felt like a movie where I was on vacation. I was traveling to this area where Cuarón grew up. It's such a personal film. I've learned so much, and I thought it was really fantastic. I don't like. We'll get to when we get to all three of you guys, but I know you guys love this movie, and I'm a part of it too. I love it as well. Just not quite as much.
Right on. Moving on to
right on. Moving on.
Your number 7 here. Matt, hit us with the number 7.
All right, so Kirk, you gave Spike Lee a shout out. I'm gonna hit him with another one because I'm going Black Klansman here.
Great pick.
This is just a great movie. It's so weird. It's hard to believe it's a true story, but it's so entertaining. And the way it's entertaining, but then also hits you with important stuff, I think worked really well. And then I know some people are mixed on the Charlottesville stuff at the end, but I thought it worked quite well just because you have this fun tone throughout, and then it's like, fuck, and hits you.
It worked really well for me.
Like it.
I didn't like it at first, but I definitely like it now.
Like, I remember when I saw it in theaters, you have everyone just enjoying themselves, having a good time, and then everyone was dead fucking silent.
Mm-hmm.
No one moved for, like, a minute of the credits.
Totally.
So I found that super effective. John David Washington is great.
So
Adam
good.
Driver's great. Topher Grace is
Yeah,
hilarious.
I was just about to say, Topher Grace
The
is...
fucking...
Yes.
The KKK movie night is hilarious.
Yeah.
You know,
So
as
weird.
a NYU, shout to NYU,
NYU!
NYU professor and student, Spike Lee had to throw in that fucking, what's that movie?
Gone with the
Birth of a
Wind?
Nation.
Oh,
into
Birth of a
there.
Nation?
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind is in there too.
Is it?
Yeah, the very first scene is Gone with the Wind.
Mm,
With Alec Baldwin.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, true.
No, I totally agree. It's a fantastic film. It was up there for a while. It almost made my list, but yeah, I think no one is better than Spike Lee at dealing with race relations in film
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
and just exploring Black culture and all the different sides to
The references
the
to
community. And,
blaxploitation movies and stuff was
yeah,
really great.
awesome. The soundtrack was amazing.
It's,
Mhm.
The
I didn't
score was
realize
great,
how
too.
much I loved it,
Yeah.
and then I re-listened to it a few days ago. It's so fucking dope.
Yeah, the score and the soundtrack just was awesome.
I don't remember the soundtrack very well.
Mhm.
It was
But
just
I trust
it was
it's
it was
great.
very groovy in
Yeah.
the 70s.
Yeah,
you know,
for
so.
sure.
Super groovy.
All right, moving on to Kirk.
All right.
Good pick, Matt.
Thank you.
Great pick, Matt. My number 7, my favorite horror movie of 2018. It's already been on your list here, Nolan. 8th Grade. Great horror movie.
It is a horror movie.
It's a
man.
fucking horror movie. The first time I've seen this movie twice now.
It is, man. It is.
It's so cringy and hard to watch because it's
a
so
fucking horror. relatable.
It was the hardest movie for me to watch.
yeah.
Screw
harder than-
climax. I watched every second of that movie with my eyes wide open. Gaspar Noé, in his attempt to be provocative, 8th Grade got me more. Not for being provocative, just for being
Yeah.
too much for me to handle.
So
There's so many
cringy.
sensory experiences, and it was being cringy in a purposeful way because you're at this cringy point, transition period in people's life, and I feel like this is a time period which isn't explored enough. All right, Gucci. And it's not only one that isn't explored, but there's so much to do with it. Bo Burnham does a great job of really making this film feel like it could have actually existed and developing a great look at what modern audiences can relate to. Also, shout out to the dad in 8th grade. If I'm ever a father, like, I hope that I'm that good as a parent because he doesn't understand his daughter very well, and that's so obvious. But even though he doesn't understand her, he manages to, I guess, just be there for her in a way that, even though there's that lack of understanding, there's this distance generationally. I guess she's at that period of her life where she's rejecting or rebelling against her father. Even through that period, he's able to be innocent, caring enough to just manage to be a great father. And yeah, Elsie Fisher is ridiculously good in this movie. I can't wait. This is a biopic, but I can't wait for the biopic starring her about the Shags. Shout out to the Shags.
Oh, yeah.
Philosophy of the World. Great album. Yeah. 8th Grade. Best horror movie of 2018.
Yeah.
This may be an unpopular opinion on the dad, but I feel like he's too good.
Like,
I feel like
Like, it's
he's
not
almost
believable?
unrealistically
well,
amazing.
No, he's flawed. Like, he goes to the mall and it's just like, that don't look now, but that creepy dude's just I love that
That's
that
so
reverse
crazy.
shot to him going like, oh, he's been
that was
caught.
good.
I love his
I
face.
think part of what makes it work is the absence of a mother.
Mhm.
So
That's
it's just
true.
the dad that's there. So he has nothing. His daughter is the only person left in his family, and it's the one person that he loves and cares about the most.
And he even addresses that in that great bonfire scene you were alluding to earlier, where he says, like, I was so worried when your mother left that I would struggle to raise you, and I wouldn't be able to teach you all these things that I need to teach you. And yeah, the fact that she was able to just learn these things on her own is fantastic.
Just don't get me started on the bonfire scene, man.
So
You're gonna
good.
get to me.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, what was in that box? I hope this is healthy for you. What was in that box? All my hopes and dreams. So good.
Yeah. Great pick.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Again, that was the rewatch that
No.
really put that ahead.
It
for me.
wasn't a great pick. It was a Gucci pick.
I really wished when she was handing out her Oscar, she said, "And Gucci."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think I
on
whispered that to you in the
No, we
theater.
were all talking about
Oh,
that.
Yeah, we were all
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, my number 7 pick is a film that I think has gone quite under the radar, sadly, which would be Julian Schnabel's At Eternity's Gate, starring
Oh,
Willem
my-
Dafoe.
Mm.
This is the second film I've seen from this director. The other film I saw was The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, and what Julian Schnabel does here in At Eternity's Gate, which he also did really well in The Diving Bell, is expressing the character through the cinematography, I guess. And he does that so well here. He just shows Vincent van Gogh's descent into just like pure madness and just the chaos in his mind. And not only the cinematography, but the sound. He does some really cool experimental things there. Willem Dafoe's performance is incredible. Maybe my favorite score of the year. There's some scenes where Willem Dafoe's performance matched with the score just like brought tears to my eyes, just because it was so beautiful and so emotional. And yeah, I really fucked with this movie.
Yeah, shout out to Oscar Isaac for
Yeah,
playing
he's great as well.
Paul Gauguin.
Yeah,
Like sneaking in that little Paul Gauguin reference is pretty sick. As like a little bit of an art history buff. I dabble in the art history,
mhm.
but
And their relationship gets really emotional at a
Mhm.
certain point in the film.
I'm really sad I missed this one, but
yeah,
Yeah,
It's so good.
I definitely
Willem
will
Dafoe
watch it
is
one
so
day.
dope.
Willem Dafoe's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Willem Dafoe, he's a lad.
Yeah,
Might have to induct him one day.
One day,
yeah,
he's Mount Rushmore certified.
He is.
yeah. But yeah, fantastic movie.
Good
Alright.
pick.
Yeah.
Number 6, Nolan.
Number 6 for me. Let me just double check what I have here. Oh yeah, we already talked about this film at the start of the year. Before all the other movies came out, it was my number 1 for the longest time, and that is Alex Garland's Annihilation. We already talked about it a bit, but I was so fucking hyped on this movie when I first saw it. I thought it was nuts. I described it in my review as Predator meets 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I like that.
Narratively, it does have that stalker kind of vibe to it, but to me, it just, you venture into this area like the zone, and you just encounter all this fucked up shit, and these people are losing their mind like they are in Predator, and then the ending just goes absolutely just nuts with 2001 kind of psychedelic vibes.
Totally.
And the sound design is incredible. The score is not getting enough recognition at all. It's
I agree.
fantastic.
I completely agree.
The ending is amazing, and just the pacing to me is just so consistent and perfect. The bear scene is so disturbing and fucked up.
It's terrifying.
It's fantastic, and yeah, with this film and Ex Machina, it's officially certified Alex Garland for me as one of the most talented up and coming directors.
He's an exciting guy.
He's so exciting. I can't wait to see what he does next. I
Mm-hmm.
just loved what he did. How he said that when he was adapting Annihilation into a film, he didn't read the book again. He just kind of adapted it based on memory, because he wasn't going for like a detailed page by page
Mm-hmm.
recreation. All he wanted to do was remember what he loved about the book so much and only use that to make this film. And I know you, Victor, and you, Kirk, you guys weren't as huge on this film as Matt and I were, but I was just totally on board with it, even though it does have its flaws here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to Matt, I guess.
All right. Number 6. This is a movie I had way high for a while, and I'm glad I kept it in here. Thoroughbreds.
I knew you were going to say Thoroughbreds.
Yeah, I thought your last one was going to be Thoroughbreds.
I love this movie so much.
It's great, yeah.
Olivia Cooke and Anya Taylor-Joy, I love both of them as actresses, and then the two of them together work so well, because you have Olivia Cooke feeling nothing, you have Anya Taylor-Joy feeling everything, and it's such a weird connection that I absolutely loved. The delivery of a lot of the lines, especially by the dad, I thought was really cool. And then just throughout it, the sound design was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one shot with her on the couch laid in it.
It's the best shot in the movie.
Good.
That's one of like my favorite shots of the year easily.
That
so
shot is
good.
giving me so much artistic inspiration.
I
love
completely
it
agree.
so much.
I completely
so
agree.
True.
Yeah.
Just
I really wish it ended on that shot.
I couldn't agree more.
There's a lot of movies from last year though that I'm like, I wish it ended here, but I guess you kind of need a bit after to
Roma. Roma for me.
I don't agree, but I can see where you're coming
Free
from.
Solo too.
Yeah, Free
Yeah.
Solo. Yeah.
Like, I don't mind the ending,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I would have liked it to end there. Also, Anton Yelchin is
Yeah, I
great.
was just gonna say,
Dude,
rest
he's
in peace.
awesome.
He's
Rest
so
in
good
peace,
in this.
yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome in that movie.
Yeah, it's a nice short movie you can throw on and enjoy.
It got
That also is just all around pretty good.
yeah. Not enough people saw it.
I have it on Blu-ray. I need to give it a rewatch because I really liked it on my first watch, but I'm totally blanking out on the movie right now. Just because like I watched it so early on in
Yeah.
the year that it's kind of blanking on me right now. But like I love the chess pieces, the giant when they're like playing chess. That's pretty dope.
I want that in my life.
Olivia Cooke and Anya Taylor-Joy to me are two of the actresses out there who have so much potential to have like
The
amazing
100%.
careers.
I honestly think
it's gonna
Anya
happen.
Taylor-Joy is gonna be the face of horror soon. Like with
Yeah.
what she's done so far.
With her career choices, yeah.
Nosferatu.
Victor, you gotta see The Witch.
The
my guy.
Witch.
Yeah, I do need to see The Witch.
Yeah, you
It's high on my
do.
watch list.
Yeah, just
I'm told I'll really like
I'm
it.
excited with like her like upcoming collaboration with Robert Eggers again in his remake of Nosferatu too.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Kirk, moving on to you, I guess.
Yeah, moving on. My number 6 here. A movie that. Whew,
I wish we wrote them down.
yeah, it's a ridiculous watch here, but Hirokazu Kora, I can't say his name. Shoplifters. Shoplifters is ridiculous. It tackles the family drama in the tradition of Ozu, but takes a look at families in a less traditional standard. A less traditional standard of what a family can be identified as. And he does it expertly. My biggest gripe with the film was that the trailer gave away so much about the film that I wish I had not seen the trailer going into this movie, because the main thesis of the film is revealed in the trailer for me, and it's a scene that occurs right at the end, or towards the end, and it's very powerful. And it's just such a ridiculously emotional film, and the pathos and I guess just feelings that it gives throughout the emotion that's interspliced with this film is just ridiculous. And it did so much for me in terms of storytelling, commenting on relationships. So had to give it to Shoplifters right there.
That's another one I'm really upset I didn't see.
Definitely worth a watch.
Mm-hmm.
I really like how they played with time in it.
Yeah.
Like the passage of time is different, but it works really well.
Yeah, I know Victor
It
had
didn't work for me.
trouble with the pacing, but I love it's another thing that is done in the style of Ozu, but you have seasons playing a really important factor into the film. As you start off, like, you have the winter, and then you have them in summer and spring getting the cicadas and stuff, and it really it shows the passage of time using the seasons really well. And yeah, it's just a great film. Again, featuring like a lower class family, showing their struggles, especially in terms of like the jobs and stuff, and you see repercussions that end up being pretty devastating that you think are like smaller things. And yeah, great movie.
Great pick. Yeah. All right, my number 6 is The Sisters Brothers.
Oh, shit.
With Joaquin Phoenix, John C. Reilly, Riz Ahmed, and Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, fantastic cast right there. Shot by Benoit Debby, who is the usual cinematographer for Gaspar Noé.
And Harmony Korine.
Yeah. And,
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. And
he also shot Climax.
Yeah. Gaspar Noé.
No, Benoit Debby.
I know. I said he works with Gaspar Noé a lot.
Yeah, I know, but earlier in the podcast, Kirk said that Gaspar Noé shot Climax. I was just saying that now that... I was just saying Benoit Debby shot it.
Oh, no, I meant like he held the camera.
Oh,
yeah,
he was the camera operator.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant. I didn't mean cinematography.
Sorry, we're off.
Yeah, no
Sisters
worries.
Brothers.
Yeah, these characters are just so interesting, and they're so different from one another. The way they juxtapose each other is just so incredibly interesting to watch the entire time. It's darkly funny, it's fucked up at parts, it's really emotional, and it's just a really compelling ride. I mean, it's hard to talk about. I mean, the film doesn't have that many great things, but the things that it does have are really great, if that makes sense. It does a lot with a little, and I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, I'm not big on westerns, but it's just great.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
And a fantastic score that got snubbed from the Oscars. Like, fantastic.
And some eccentric Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Gyllenhaal's accent in this movie.
There were a lot of scores that got snubbed from the fucking Academy Awards.
Yeah, a lot.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Don't do that.
But yeah, I encourage you guys to watch this movie. Kirk, didn't you get like halfway through it or something?
Yeah.
Okay. You weren't into it?
It was all right.
Damn. I really fucked with it.
All right, moving on.
Moving on to my pick.
Yeah, number 5.
All right. This was a last minute decision. My 4 and 5 were so close. But I'm decided to stick with this one, and we've already talked about it on two occasions. And that is Luca Guadagnino's Suspiria.
Dope pick.
So we already went to pretty great detail, not just in this podcast, but in a whole other episode.
Yeah, shout out to that episode.
Talked about both versions of Suspiria. Yeah, shout out to that episode. Legit. It's a good episode.
Another thing that neither Victor or I brought up already that I know like all three of us really enjoyed was the soundtrack of the film. Like,
yeah, the soundtrack
Tom
is...
Tom York.
Is it Tom or Thom? How do you say it?
It's spelt Thom, but it's pronounced Tom.
It is pronounced Tom? Well, Tom York, holy shit. The score is fantastic, and it is another score that got overlooked. Also, the original song that plays in the opening credits is fantastic. It just sucked me right into the world. You got that opening scene with Chloe Grace Moretz. That is just nuts.
It's stuck in my head and I can't get it out.
Yeah. With Lutz Ubersdorf. Then you have that opening credits scene with that song. Just sucked me right in. And I've said this to you guys before, and this is a bit of a hot take, but for me, Suspiria 2018 was the best production design of the year, and some of the best set design. Because it might not have taken as much. It took a lot of effort, but I don't know. To me, it was what sucked me into the world the most. Like in the original, you have all the production design is great there. You have all these colors, all this wacky shit going on. This one was completely different in a more bleak and subdued way, but it totally just sucked me into this time period of this 1970s and Germany. And just the designs of the dance academy, that room with all the mirrors, the floors.
Yep.
Yeah, just the snowy land outside was just perfect to me.
Mm-hmm.
It sucked me right in.
Yeah, the weather in that film's like portrayed really well.
Pretty legit. All right, moving on to Matt's number 5.
All right, number 5. I have the Best Picture winner of 2018. Once my little poll goes through, I'm gonna make a petition. Paddington 2.
Nice.
Once your
Hell
poll
yeah.
goes through.
I started a petition the Monday after the Oscars. I just didn't get
Yo.
around to finishing it.
Yo, first, sorry, before you go on, for a second I thought you were going to say Green Book.
I wanted to, I memed a little bit.
And I would have been hyped if it was Green Book. But go ahead on
No.
Paddington 2.
Paddington 2. Gorgeous, heartwarming, made me sob like a little bitch.
Yep.
So, Paddington himself is the best thing that has happened. Just in general.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, just brightening everyone's day. He's so sweet. He's such a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
He makes Brendan Gleeson
Ted's
happy.
Oh, Brendan Gleeson in that movie.
No.
Brendan Gleeson is great in that movie.
Knuckles, so good.
Yeah.
The production design is great. All the acting is great. It's just such a great movie. And it's out of nowhere. Like, I remember before it came out, people were hyping it up from England or whatever the fuck. And
The
I was like, I
hype?
guess I need to see it.
The hype on Letterboxd for
Was
Paddington
crazy.
2 was ridiculous.
It's in the top
Everywhere.
250.
Yeah, well, a lot of 2018 movies are
Yeah.
like a ridiculous amount.
Spider-Verse.
Shoplifters,
That's a little
Roma.
Yeah.
No, whatever.
Being in the top 10, Spider-Verse.
It's just the way the algorithm works, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Paddington 2 should be number 1.
newer movies, more people are gonna log them because, like, for example, I don't know about all you guys. I try and like logged everything I saw before I started using Letterboxd, but it's just not possible, right?
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, you don't know. So a lot of people don't have like, just for example, like our friend Avery, she doesn't have a lot of her movies logged before she started using Letterboxd.
She just logs them as she watches
she just logs them as she goes, keeps it as a diary, which is
Brandon Habes does that as well.
Yeah,
Shout out Brandon Habes.
Brandon Habes does that as well.
Yeah.
We're shouting out the lad every
Yeah,
podcast.
the two lads right there.
Oh yeah, he wants us to talk about what it takes to be a lad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
We'll do that
we
later.
gotta do that.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, but he is a lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Babes, don't worry.
And-
You're good.
And that's
Lad certification.
yeah, that's why the 2018 movies have that bias there on
I
the
feel-
list. But yeah, dope
Also,
pick.
just recency hype. People
Yeah.
will be hyped when they
That's
see
a
something new.
huge part of it for sure. Great pick, Matt.
For sure. Also the like, just the prison scenes in general
They're
in that
so
movie
good.
They're
are
amazing.
insane.
Also, the
The cooking marmalade scene and the making dessert scene, like awesome.
Yeah,
this is also second year in a row where Sally Hawkins is great at holding her breath in a great movie.
Yeah.
This and Shape of Water.
we need to put this
We do.
image.
That's beautiful.
Hell yeah.
I'll save this image.
I retweeted that.
Let me see.
Yeah, Paddington's adorable, and the ending made me bawl my eyes out.
I legitimately think Paddington 2 would be the perfect Best Picture choice. No one would
Honestly.
be mad about that.
I wouldn't be upset by it.
I think it's just
Peter Farrelly might be a little bit upset about that, or Steven Spielberg.
it's a
No, it's not on
Spielberg's
Netflix, so
whack,
we're all good.
Spielberg was a producer on Green Book. That's why
like
it didn't have anything to do with the streaming or anything.
This shit's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
the fact that like it didn't get any reception at all for the Hollywood thing. Like I feel like it had a big part to do with the culture of like England being infused in this movie, but like it's way past that. Like
It was also the release date and campaigning is so huge
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
shit.
my mom's from England, and like she read like the Paddington books when she was a kid and stuff, and I have a bunch of them at home, so it was like a really really big thing back then. And I just feel like no nostalgic like movie like that transitions from a storybook or a kid's storybook to a live action movie does it better. Well, like there's a few, but Paddington's really up there for me. like, think about, like, Cat in the Hat. That's what we got instead of Paddington, which is ridiculous.
Shot by Emmanuel Lubezki.
Yeah.
That's one of his finer
second time
moments.
Cat in the Hat has got a shout out on the podcast. All right. I guess that's
Number
moving on to
5.
my number 5 here.
Glad.
For a long point in time, this was my number 1.
I think I know what it is.
Yeah, Sorry to Bother You.
Nice.
Yeah,
Great pick.
Boots Riley does such a great job with all the performances. This movie's surreal, hilarious, thought-provoking,
Completely absurd.
completely absurd. Army Hammer is
Armie
ridiculous.
Hammer is so fucking funny in this movie.
No spoilers. It takes such a crazy and ridiculous turn in the movie that during the summer when this movie was playing in theaters nearby me, I had to take each one of my friends to go see this movie and just each time watch the audience react in the most absurd twist of the year, which I'm not going to spoil, but great soundtrack. Oh yeah, that song is
The score is
fucking
just
dope.
Yo, are you talking about the Entourage theme? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. So it's a different.
Did you
it's a
see Sorry
different
About
song.
You?
No, I didn't even see it.
Okay, yeah, it's a different song. It's like an original song.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah. Sorry to Bother You is so dope in what it does. It's weird that, to me, that Black Klansman came out in the same year, because they're both movies about race that have to do with people speaking over the phone and pretending to be white people.
I'm Ron Stallworth.
Yeah, Ron Stallworth here.
Yeah, the white voice thing in Sorry to Bother You is great.
So good.
I love how they approached it.
With David Cross and Paddington. Yeah, Paddington Oswald. Patton Oswald.
Bro, I'm gonna make an edit of when he's using his white voice. We hear Paddington say, "I'm doing that."
Danny Glover, Terry Crews,
Good.
Lakeith Stanfield, and
He's
Tessa
amazing.
Thompson are
I love
ridiculous.
Lakeith Stanfield. Like,
Yeah,
he's
so
awesome.
good. The costume design for the character.
oh, it just
When
feels
he hits his
iconic, like
head,
already. Like,
Yeah, and the bandage
Yeah,
wrapped around
totally.
him. There's this dope thing that they do, and I don't think they explored it enough, but I feel like it was due to budget constraints, where you have this thing where shots transition, where like he'll make the call and then he'll actually like pop his desk down and like enter that space. And I love those shots so much, and I definitely think they would have done that more if this wasn't such a small
There's
production.
there's so many great transitions. Like I love the montage of him like getting richer and richer, and we see like his bed being taken away and like a new richer bed being made and like the new furniture and everything.
Exactly. Like the supporting cast is great. I've already talked about that.
There's just so much creativity in that movie.
So
I love,
much creativity.
I love the game show. What's it called again?
I forget. There's also the prison system thing, which is ridiculous. Just Armie Hammer.
He's
Do
so
some coke, man.
fucking funny.
It's just coke.
Nolan, you'll love Armie Hammer in this movie.
You'll love Armie Hammer in this movie. You need to see Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah,
I
you
know
have
I need
see
to. It was on my
Oh.
list of movies to watch before this podcast, but I couldn't.
The rapping scene is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, rap.
Yeah. And don't spoil what he says, but
That made me so
Oh, I just remembered what it was.
that's
like-
such a good scene.
I don't know if all of 8th grade was cringier or if that one scene I think that one scene in Sorry to Bother You takes the cake for best cringy scene of the year.
But I love how everyone's just turning up to what he's saying. Like,
Yeah.
they're just loving
They're
it.
loving it.
Yeah. Great choice, man.
Yeah, I love Sorry to Bother You, and yeah, that's my number 5 pick.
All right, moving on to my number 5 pick. My number 5 is Paul Schrader's First Reformed. We've talked about this one a bit. I suspect we're going to talk about it later, but I will just say this is maybe Ethan Hawke's best performance yet. Up there with the Before trilogy. It might be better. I don't know. The cinematography is amazing.
Boyhood.
very purposeful uses of camera movement. It happens very rarely in the film, but when it happens, it's very purposeful. I love the themes it tackles. The environment, which isn't so subtle in the film, but I still enjoy it. Company, churches, faith, struggling with your faith, the silence of God, which is big in Bergman and Winterlight, which I haven't seen Winterlight, but I suspect that's a huge theme in that movie. Just in a totally bonkers ending that just leaves you scratching your head, but it makes a huge impact. And
barbed wire. That's what I'll say.
We'll talk about it more later in the list.
Yeah.
So
great choice.
All right, Nolan.
Glad you had that so high.
Number 4.
All right. Number 4 is Yorgi Bear with The Favorite. Yorgos Lanthimos coming in with a savage film about Queen Anne. Olivia Colman giving one of the best performances. Oh, this whole cast.
Yeah.
Rachel Weisz, Emma Stone, Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
And of course Olivia Colman just being
That other guy.
savages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that other guy.
I don't know his name.
The other guy.
All the maids or whatever just fucking
Yeah.
up.
It's just so funny and like kind of disturbing at the end. It's just so well shot as well. Has that vibe of my favorite Kubrick movie, Barry Lyndon, and I just loved almost everything about this film.
Yeah, dope pick.
Thank you.
Yorgi Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Yorgi Bear.
All right.
On to me.
Yeah, number 4.
All right, I went a similar way with my number 4 because mine is also The Favorite.
That's pretty similar.
Wow, that's 3 out of 4 of us that are gonna have The Favorite at the number 4 pick.
Is it though?
Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah, I watched this and it was like maybe number 9, but as I've thought about it more, it's so fucking good.
It is, man.
The cast is so great. Rachel Weisz is a savage.
So savage. Emma Stone is great as well.
Yeah, there's a great love triangle going on there, and the
really
power dynamics are insane in that movie.
Yeah.
Best thing about it, hands down.
Second best thing about it is watching it with old people, though. Because you go in and there's so many old people thinking it's just a normal period piece, and then just feeling them get weirded out is so entertaining.
Yeah.
When I went to see it, the theater got full before it started, and I looked around and I was like, these people do not know what they're getting into.
And it's so funny.
Yeah.
And I remember walking out, looking around at other people, and they were all like, what? I was going, that's pretty tame for Yorgi Bear.
Yeah.
And everyone else was like, that was fucked up.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this film got a lot of attention, which is really great for Yorgos, and I'm really thankful that it did get all the attention it did. Also, shout out to the dance scenes. Great year for dance scenes in movies. We've already discussed climaxes.
That's my favorite scene in the Favorite, the dance.
And adding on to that, The Favorite. All right,
Great
good
pick,
pick for number 4. All right, yeah, great pick. Doubling up on The Favorite there. I'm gonna go into my number 4. Was my top film again for the longest time. Ballad of Buster Scruggs by the Coen brothers.
Yes.
Love. Your boy here loves his vignette films with multiple different short stories interconnecting to make to give this overall theme, and the Coen brothers do it so well here. And I feel like there's varying quality for sure, but not too drastically in the different parts of the film. But overall, there's enough different moods and feelings that this movie gives me that it was just pretty awesome for me. Like joy, you experience joy and comedic elements with what is probably the best one among them, the very first opening, Ballad of Buster Scruggs itself, with
boy,
the song
when a
cowboy
trades
his spurs for wings. Let me tell you something. Okay,
there's a faster again.
So dope.
Coming over yonder when tomorrow comes.
Dan here loves the pleasing sound of my baritone. Some call me a misanthrope. Misanthrope. Yeah. I think that's a little bit undeserving.
Hey, let me get that for you, partner.
I don't hate my fellow man.
Even when they get a little bit surly after playing poker.
I should be training myself to take on the undertaking business.
Yeah, James Franco's dope in it too. That banker's fucking hilarious. And you know it wouldn't be legit if I didn't shout out Tom Waits. You know, Nolan beats it to me every time now. I'm getting too predictable.
I do that on purpose.
I need to vary up my Tom Waits mentions because Nolan's starting to predict them. Yeah. His All Gold's Canyon or whatever is so dope too. Tom Waits is brilliant. I'm glad that I must spoil this. No, I won't spoil that. Oh, fuck, I want to, but
don't spoil it. Don't spoil
I'm not gonna spoil it. Go watch Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Very accessible because it's on Netflix. Even if you don't like westerns, just give it a shot. For the opening sequence, it's like the shortest of the vignettes. So even if you just watch that, I feel like there's enough value in just watching the actual short Ballad of Buster Scruggs that give it a shot. Favorite filmmakers mixed with my favorite musician. You know it had to be high up on my list, you know?
Of course.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs, great look in the Western.
Great pick.
That's my number 4 pick.
Great pick, fantastic.
Great pick. My number 4 pick, I'm joining Nolan and Matt with the Yorgie Bear.
Yorgie Bear!
Like I said, 3 out of 4.
Yeah. The favorite is awesome. So savage, like you said. So absurd, and the absurdity in the context of like such a sophisticated time period with like the costuming and the language that they use, it was just absolutely hilarious to me. The character dynamics, all the performances. You know, we have a podcast about this.
Yeah.
And,
it also gave us that Olivia Colman speech at the Oscars.
So dope.
The
best part of the Oscars,
show.
Yeah, amazing movie. That's all I gotta say.
Dope.
That's all you gotta say.
Alright, number 3, Noli.
Well, my next pick is a film that only I saw in this podcast, but I never would have thought that this would make the list. But it was just too damn good when I saw it, and that is Peter Jackson's They Shall Not Grow Old.
Sick.
One of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my life, and one of the most innovative and technologically impressive pieces of filmmaking I've ever seen and experienced in the theater. When I saw this film, and it's the most disappointing part about you going to the screen. I'm sure when you watch on DVD, it'll come with this feature, but when you see it in the theater, at the very start, Peter Jackson gives a little intro to the film, and he says, if you choose to do so, you can obviously watch the film, and then after the credits roll, if you want, you can stay and you can listen to me talk for like 30 minutes about how he made the film. So I stayed for that, and basically he just goes bit by bit with all the different shit that he had to do to build this this intensity and authenticity to World War I, and it's fucking insane. He just, all the details that he went to do it, he basically, I don't know if you guys know, but I forget what museum it was that approached him, but he was approached by this big museum, and they were like, hey, we have all this footage from World War I. It's all scratched up. It's all shitty, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but we have 100 hours of that footage. We were wondering if we could give it to you and maybe you can make like a little TV movie and do something kind of interesting with it. And Peter Jackson said, I have no idea. And he thought about it for a day, and then he just had this idea of, oh, what if we use technology to colorize it? What if we recorded sounds to give it sort of a diegetic sound tone to it? What if we blew up the footage? And what if we used all these voiceovers? What if we found specific people that we see in early moments of World War One and then in later moments? What if we can make some sort of character arc and story arc with them? So he did all that shit, and some of the stuff that the hours and hours and hours of hard work that he had to go through to just find all this stuff was absolutely insane. It also has this moment that is reminiscent to Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker and, of course, the classic Wizard of Oz. And that is this moment where you go from, in They Shall Not Grow Old is black and white in those other films that sepia, but you go from that aesthetic to color. Here you just have voiceover, you don't have sound, and you have black and white footage, and then all of a sudden, once all these characters that we've gotten to know enter into the day-to-day life of the trenches and in battle, World War II, then the image just stretches, and the sound comes in, and the color comes in, and you just go, holy shit. And it doesn't just have this impressive quality and look to it, but it just all of a sudden punches you in the gut. And there are even characters that we somehow get to know, kind of, and there are just these shots, and you know they're real, and they just bring tears to your eyes because you're seeing this person, and they're all, it's the early 1900s. Cameras are so new, right? They're all looking at this camera like, holy shit. And most of the shots, they look like, oh yeah, we're in the pictures, or look, we're in they're like, what is that thing over there? And there's this one shot early on when it transitions where there's this guy, he's just, many of them, they're just terrified because they know that there's a good chance that they're going to get killed. But I just thought it was so emotionally resonating, so important from a historical perspective, but also from a filmmaking perspective. And all you guys definitely got to check it out because it's insane, the achievement of this film.
I think like the initial premise, if you take it at face value, could be a little like underwhelming, I guess, because you're thinking like, oh, like, yeah, they took It's a Wonderful Life and colorized that too, like, sure, whatever. And like, Criterion restores films all the time. Like they restored the Apu trilogy from a freaking fire. But yeah, the level of detail that you're describing and that I've heard in interviews where Peter Jackson's talking about this film is ridiculous.
It's more than you would think.
Yeah, it could have easily they could have easily half-assed it and just or like put in a good amount of effort and get a good result, but they went like above and beyond. Like I heard they went and analyzed specifically where different infantries came from in Great Britain and found people from those specific villages or territories to match the specific accents of each regiment, which is freaking ridiculous.
There's so much
because there's so many different
to the specific detail.
Dialects and accents in Great Britain. That like small details like that are extraordinary, and I'm really glad that he's doing stuff like this over The Hobbit.
I agree with that too. And just to give you guys another example, is for the one battle sequence, what he didn't really understand going into this project was just how many shades of green there are in grass. He said, I really take that for granted. And instead of just walking outside, he was like, no, I really want to nail this landscape because this is where most of the movie's taking place. So he flew from New Zealand all the way to where the actual battle took place, and he took thousands of photographs of the landscape. And one thing that I've heard some people take issue with is that a couple of the colorization isn't perfect, which I understand. And Peter Jackson even talked about that himself. But what he said was, when you're colorizing a film, especially with this kind of footage that's so old and everything, you could work on it for hundreds of years and it will still not be perfect. He said we eventually just got to a point where like we had to stop. They had been working on this for years, and he said I just have to stop working on this and go with the flow from here. But yeah, I could just talk about this movie for so long. It's insane. But
dope to see a documentary so high up on your list.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, number 3, Matt.
All right, this is a movie that I don't think any of you guys have seen. It's one I saw, I think in June.
Oh, I know what you're
blew
talking
me
about.
away. It is Bart Layton's American Animals.
Oh, I really wanted to see this.
It's like a docudrama about a true story about 4 guys that try to rob a college library. And the way it starts out, it's a title card that says this is not based on a true story, and then it fades into this is a true story.
That's cool.
Just right from that, you can tell that you're about to watch something special. And it's such a great movie. It cuts in the actual people really well and in a lot of creative ways. And then it has like a 3-act structure to it. You have like the first act where you feel the excitement of planning a heist that I think everyone's had a little bit. Like, oh, how would I steal that TV?
Mm-hmm.
How would I rob a bank?
Totally.
So you align yourselves with them then, and then then you get to the actual heist, and you sort of realize why you wouldn't do it, because you can feel the anxiety through every single character, and like it's legitimately sickening. Like I got a little sick in the theater just by how stressful it was. Only other movie that I think did that was Hereditary. I almost puked in Hereditary.
Yeah,
you have
I gotta
that.
check this out. You're really intriguing me on this.
And then you have the aftermath of it where you feel the guilt with them too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a well done movie.
Mm-hmm.
The mix of documentary and drama is fantastic. And I know it doesn't work for most people, but there's a pocket of people that adore this movie, and I am right in the thick of that.
You and John Waters.
Damn.
This was John Waters' second favorite movie of the year, I think.
Neat.
So.
And performance-wise, too, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
Evan
shout out to
Peters
Martin.
Barry Keoghan.
Evan Peters is great. Barry Keoghan's really good.
Martin.
Blake Jenner, who started out in like Glee and shit, is really good in it.
Hmm.
And I don't remember the 4th guy's name, but he's great too. Just an all-around fantastic movie.
You really have me intrigued on this.
Yeah, I really want to see this one and his other film, The Imposter.
Yeah, I want to see that one
Both
too.
of them look dope. And
I love this movie so much that when it came out and I couldn't find it anywhere on Blu-ray, I walked like an hour in Toronto to find it.
jeez. Yeah, I think it has a Blu-ray release now, so
Yeah.
yeah.
You own it now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope. I need to pick up
Matt's
more
got the
2018 Blu-rays. Yeah, dope pick, Matt. Definitely need to give that one a shot.
Well worth a watch.
Yeah, both
You
of your
really
picks,
sold me on it.
Both your picks were movies that no one else saw. Nolan and Matt.
With a bit of doc in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Documentary. All right. My number 3 pick is a movie that was extremely personal to me. And if you know a bit about the filmmaker himself, it's super personal to him as well. And that's First Reformed. This movie takes a movie I already love, Winter's Light by Ingmar Bergman, and expresses it in a modern context that just works so well and expresses so many thoughts that I've always had in my head, so many questions and feelings and emotions that I think about and give me anxiety about this world in the modern context. Like, there's so many powerful conversations and the dialogue is just insane in the way it does that, especially when Ethan Hawke and the suicidal man are sitting down and having those conversations.
Oh, that's such a good,
and he's
such
like,
good dialogue in that scene.
How old are you? Whatever, like, I forget what Ethan Hawke says, but he's like, yeah, if I had a child, our child was born this year, they'll be that old in the year like 2050. And he lists all these statistics and from well-known scientists, and they just fill me with so much fear and anxiety. But the film does a great job of, by the end of it, not resolving the issues through solutions, but giving a way out. And it just blew me away the first time I watched this movie.
It could be, the ending almost could be have that sense of hope, but you're not entirely sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Hope and despair.
Hope and despair. And
it's almost bittersweet.
I love the way it tackles religion in the movie. I'm not a very religious guy myself, but I think it did a great job of expressing views in the film. And Paul Schrader's background, like his parents were religious, like extremists, basically. That really impacted his life. Like him and his brother Leonard Schrader didn't watch a movie until they were 17, which is insane.
That's like Werner Herzog.
Yeah,
level.
It was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
But it was more of a restriction because they were told that films were these things that are the devil, and they would like result in you going to like hell. And then they watch movies and they're like, what the, like, what's up with this? So the fact that Schrader is able to show this like love, hate, hope and despair relationship with religion is definitely deeply personal to the filmmaker himself. And like you said, its relation to Taxi Driver and the vigilante type of taking justice into your own hands is something that he explores brilliantly throughout his work. Shout out to Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters. Dope movie by Paul Schrader as well. Yeah, First Reformed is excellent. It did so much for me in so many different ways. And that's why it's my number 3 pick.
Nice.
Specs for that.
I also think it's like a movie that is politically one of the more important movies of 2018. That and Sorry to Bother You are like really important to me in the messages they express. And I feel like race is something that's explored a lot, obviously, and like global warming and the fear and anxiety behind that isn't a topic that is often given enough credit in cinema, and this film just does it perfectly.
Usually if that kind of subject matter is dealt with in cinema, it's through documentary.
An Inconvenient Truth comes to mind.
That one with Leo before the flood.
Inconvenient Truth is like a pretty good movie about Man Bear Pig as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you though, and the way that they tie in those themes with the themes of religion are just awesome and so intelligent, I think.
Yeah, because obviously that's really important to American culture. Like, they say there's this separation between religion and politics, but there's not in the States, and you can tell that the church and state are not like that. I'm getting pretty political here, but to me this movie is super political in the messages it's saying, and it's very important.
I agree.
And because, sorry, I'm gonna get political here for a second. To me, like, global warming and conserving the planet isn't a matter of party politics. Like, right wing or left wing, like, we all should be working together to keep like the planet like safe. And
I agree with that.
Like, in America, they used to, even the right wing party, the Republicans used to be for preserving, because they're conservatives. They want to conserve the planet, right? Ronald Reagan, as much as I like don't like Ronald Reagan, he was for conserving the planet. He was for recycling and all this stuff. And it's just like, it really shouldn't be an issue, but it's made an issue because of like oil companies and all that. But yeah, sorry for getting political there.
Which is explored greatly
in the movie too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to get political because to me it's a political movie.
Nice. Gnarly pick.
Yeah.
Very gnarly.
That's my number 3.
Moving on to Vicky over here.
Yeah, my number 3 pick is Isle of Dogs from Wes Anderson. This movie makes me so happy. I mean, it has that quirky magic that all of Wes Anderson's movies have. It's the best stop motion I've ever seen, and I'm a huge fan of stop motion. What?
Fantastic Mr. Fox?
It's not the best stop motion film I've seen. It is the best stop motion I've seen.
Sure. That's fair enough, I guess.
What?
Like,
that's what you understand. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, he's saying the animation is good.
Not the
film.
Not Not the film as a whole, but the animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Isle of Dogs is my new favorite movie of all time. No,
Dude, you have to be tripping balls.
No, but just
tripping balls.
It's the number 3 of 2018, but my favorite of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm like, was not a meme.
But yeah, just the immense amount of detail in every single frame, in the characters, in the sets. It's so beautiful to look at, and it's so impressive. And yeah, it impresses me so much on a technical level, which we all know is important, and it makes me so happy. And I love
presentation.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Wes Anderson. I think he grows as a filmmaker with each film. I know he has the same tone, the same world every time, but I think
it works so well every time, though.
Not only does it work so well, but I think it gets better and better and more stylized every time, and I love it.
Yeah. Also, did you hear about the cast
Of Isle of Dogs?
Yeah. The cast. I don't know. I was trying to do the Jeff Goldblum character there, where it's like he keeps.
Oh, the rumor. Yeah.
Did you hear the rumor about the cast is just great. Like
the cast is incredible, and all the different characters just have their own little funny quirks about them, and
there's gonna be a fight.
Yeah, the score is awesome.
You had the trailer memorized for the longest time.
I had the trailer memorized. Yeah.
I remember not even last year, like 2017, when the trailer dropped.
Yeah.
We were still living in res together, and I'd come into your room, and you were just watching the trailer on repeat, and even before the film came out,
on repeat,
and you knew
Isle of Dogs on repeat.
You knew
on
every single word.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, I'm boss, or whatever.
I'm
Duke.
You're Duke.
Yeah. I love the score. I don't know if I would have given it the Oscar, but I'm so happy it got the nomination. I love the Kurosawa vibes and the references. It's just an amazing movie through and through for me. So.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Dope pick.
Fuck off.
What?
Yeah, go on.
What? Why?
Go on to
why
your
do you say that?
Good
It's dude, you want to fight? Like, you want to go outside? It's gonna be a fight. I said it's a good movie.
I know.
What? Do you have a problem with that?
No, I'm just messing around.
Well, I wasn't
right.
like joking around or anything.
Speaking of
good
he's
movies.
looking for great movies.
Dude, you come on. Like, what do you?
Yeah. You,
Nolan,
my guy.
stop. Speaking of good movies, Nolan, your number 2 pick.
Yeah, now Victor's looking at me though like, good movie. Yeah. Because he doesn't like this pick.
No, it's fine.
No, you don't like it. My number 2 pick is Damien Chazelle's First Man. He's continuing the train of making fucking masterpieces. This is one of the best biopics I have ever seen. In a year 2018, we get the safe biopic with Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, let's just give us the formulaic crowd pleaser biopic with shitty editing and some amazing Queen music, and then everybody will love it. Damien Chazelle didn't go the easy route. Damien Chazelle went the difficult route. This is such a spectacle to watch, such a film to behold, but at the same time it's a difficult watch because the character of Neil Armstrong is just so broken. He's so detached from society. He's so detached from his family. He's lonely. He's isolated because of some of the shit that has gone on early with the film. Kirk, I know you haven't seen it, so I don't really want to spoil it.
No, go ahead.
It is... You're saying go ahead because 2 words, right? Biopics.
And like La La Land, like, I don't know.
You're not... What about Whiplash, my guy?
Whiplash is amazing.
Yeah, so you should be excited about First Man. First Man does so many great things. It is such an accurate and well done portrayal of grief because with Damien Chazelle, what happened with him is he was approached with this project. I'm pretty sure around when he was in production, pre-production on La La Land, and they asked him if he wanted to do it, and he was like, "Space movie? I don't want to do a space movie." So he said no. And then
where's the jazz music?
it's a little bit in there in the score. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Anyways, he didn't want to do this until he was informed that Neil Armstrong joined NASA or the space team or whatever the day after his daughter died, who was, I don't know if she was 5 years old or 4 years old at the time or however old she was, but just that approach of having the sweetest thing in your life just be ripped away from you, having that motivate you into doing one of the most important and inspiring things anyone has ever done in the human race is just one of the best ways to approach this biopic. And First Man was the one movie that came out this year that hit me emotionally at the highest level, but it also impressed me technically on the highest level as well. He used this approach where during the intimate family moments where he's the most broken character, he shot the movie on 16mm film, so it has this real grainy aesthetic to it, along with being more handheld and more close-ups to give you that claustrophobic trapped feeling inside of you. And then when you're at the NASA Academy with those scenes, he went to 35mm film a lot of the time, making it a little more clear, almost as if the character of Neil Armstrong is inching a little bit towards freedom or a sense of hope and purpose in his life. And then that aesthetic builds all the way up to the climactic moment of the film when, as everybody knows, Neil Armstrong lands on the moon during the Apollo 11 mission, and we okay, in quote, lands on the moon. Okay, we landed on the moon. He gets on the moon, and we walk out there with him, and it's in crisp IMAX photography. Mm-hmm. And yeah, sure, it looks beautiful and everything, but it's all for story and character purpose. Where, yes, as I said, it looks clear, but things are finally clear for Neil, because he wanted to do this mission for his daughter. The moon was sort of this symbol for his daughter. Every time his daughter was brought up in a conversation or wherever he was, it broke him emotionally, and he always had to leave wherever he was. And he would always look at the moon sort of as if he was looking at his daughter. It's this distant thing that's out of this world, just like his daughter. And it was just this huge, grandiose scale of a movie that took the most personal approach to it. And I just thought across the board it was just fantastic and one of the most interesting biopics they could have done.
Who did they get to play Stanley Kubrick again?
You're hilarious.
What? Come on, that's kind of funny.
No, it is funny. Yeah. It's funny.
All right. Yeah, dope pick.
I like that pick a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice pick.
I definitely want to explore that movie just because of the iconography of like the moon landing and the 60s and how important that was at that period in time. And they
do that really well.
It's a story that I don't know much about, so
and not many people know much about it.
Yeah.
And you even see that within the film, because Neil Armstrong is such a private person,
mm-hmm.
and you sort of see why. And you go into the film and you find out certain things about him, and you're like, holy shit, this is why we don't know much about him outside of the film and all that stuff. Yeah, so.
Dope pick. All right, number 2, Matt. What you got?
All right, so my number 1 and 2 have been back and forth for ages.
Last minute decision here.
I'm going with Roma.
Oh.
I'm going with my heart on this one. I love Roma to pieces, though. I saw it in 70mm, which made the cinematography all that much
so
better.
Jealous.
It was
like you have the beautiful black and white plus the little bit of graininess and imperfections in the film just make it feel like that era so much more.
Totally.
It's such a powerful film. It's not really driven by narrative, but it doesn't matter. You're just following the life of this family.
Yeah, it's very episodic.
For sure. And just the personal feel of it, because it was so close to Quaron, just makes it so great. It's so well shot. It's so fucking well shot.
Can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
And the sound...
Camera pans, baby. Pans and
Oh
tracking
my God.
shots, baby.
The production design is also fantastic.
Yeah.
The way he recreated
for
stuff.
sure.
The scope of some scenes, especially with like the riots in the film, are incredible. It's emotional. The sound design.
is fucking
nuts.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Again, in theaters, it's like surrounding you. I'll be honest, I thought some people were just being rude in Spanish behind me until I realized that was just how the sound was working.
Yeah.
It's
Being rude.
Yeah, you saw it at the Lightbox as well, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like the first half hour, maybe I'm like, who the fuck is speaking Spanish back here? Let me watch the movie.
Yeah.
And then I figured it out. But just such a great experience watching it. I think the only reason it's not number one is because watching it again, I wasn't as invested as I was the first time. But still an incredible, incredible movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice pick.
Dope pick. All right, moving on to my number 2 here. We've already talked about this movie once. Lee Chang-dong's Burning. This movie is like a ghost to me. It's...
That's a good way to put it, man.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant way to put it.
It's there, but it's not all there. And
dude, man, you're just stressing me, just making me think about this movie.
It really... I can't stress enough how brilliant of a job it does at giving the viewer credit and taking its audience seriously, because it gives you so much information and so much subtext and things that you really have to think about, and doesn't give you answers to all of those things. There's no resolve, and that's been a staple of what defines art cinema for the longest time, going back to the 1950s with films like, or 1960s, sorry, with films like The 400 Blows. Just the ambiguity to it is handled in such a way that the film can develop so many different understandings and interpretations, and each one of those can be equally valid because the film gives you enough information to make all these different assumptions, and none of them will ever be right. It's like we get the shell of a story, and normally that would be a bad thing, but this movie does it in a masterfully crafted way where even though we're just given this deep shell of a story, there's enough content there to just develop in so many different ways. Stephen Young is fantastic. He's sexy in this movie. He's a vampire in this movie.
He's the Great Gatsby.
Yeah, the Great Gatsby. But like comparing him to a vampire, he has this sexuality, and I guess like there's a attraction to him from both characters. Like you can feel like almost a homosexual relationship between the main guy and Stephen Young at points in the movie.
A little bit, but that's just another thing you can interpret, right?
Oh, but
of the many.
Yeah, like for me it was really there, and it's because Stephen Young has this mystery behind him, and that's attractive. He's dangerous, and that's a seductive thing to these characters. Like first, Stephen Young, this main guy sees him as a threat, and then it goes back and forth, and their relationship is insane. The relationship between, once you throw the girl in there, it explores so many great aspects, and I'm really glad Victor Nolan, you got a chance to see it before I talked about it, because this is definitely Matt,
I'm gonna get around to it.
Yeah, I have it on Blu-ray. I'll toss it to you because you need to see this film, and it needs to be in good quality, man, because I love...
Thanks for tossing it to me,
Nolan. Buddy.
The Blu-ray came out like 3 days ago,
Oh,
Okay.
And
okay.
I don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, it came out on Tuesday. Today's
Yeah.
Thursday, so
Already has it. I love it.
yeah, I had to pre-order that one because
Hell yeah.
oh my goodness, Burning is insane. I love Korean cinema.
Yeah.
Korean cinema is definitely
Bias. No, I'm kidding. Korean cinema is fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
so
It's
good.
great. You need to watch I Saw the Devil.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list. Yeah, Burning, great.
Yeah,
Great
that's
pick.
fucking awesome.
Number 2.
Moment of truth.
My number 2 pick is
Copyright strike. Copyright strike. Copyright strike.
you got Climax. This movie is so fucking electrifying. It is so watchable. I think this is the movie. No, never mind. But I was gonna say it's the movie I've seen the most in the shortest amount of span of time,
Master.
but that's not true. No, this movie has beat The Master, but it would be
Yeah.
Goodfellas or Social Network, when I
Yeah.
was younger. But the dancing in this movie, the cinematography, the soundtrack. I mean, I don't even know where to start on a movie like this. Gaspar Noé just does Gaspar Noé so fucking well in this movie, and I mean,
Well,
Shout out to your Letterboxd review. It's a dope review.
Go.
I just want to say that.
thank you. That means a lot.
what about my review?
Nah, you're
Yours is pretty good.
Oh, savage.
Just they're both dope reviews.
It's alright. You like
Dude,
his more.
you
It's
call
okay.
you called me out on this one.
Yeah.
I can't expose myself. I read his review because it was getting mad likes, but I
Yeah.
haven't read yours. I'm
I know
being
you
exposed
haven't.
here, so I'll read
Yeah.
yours. I only read his
Yeah,
because
read his review.
Like,
his has
Costco.
40 likes now. It's
Yeah,
like one of your
it's
most
pinned.
popular
Jeez. Around
reviews.
that.
It's pinned.
It is
Yeah.
pinned.
Yeah.
But because you were on that shit and dropping the 5 stars, and I definitely need to
fucked
read your
with
review
it.
too.
Yeah,
The reason I didn't read your reviews is because
You were
the
asleep.
next day you came over to my house and you were like, "Let's watch this film." Both of you.
Oh, climax.
So I didn't want to be spoiled on the reviews there.
True. No, that's fair. Well, sort of. Actually, just say
Sorry
what
to
you're gonna.
interrupt.
No, let's go to your number 1 pick.
Yeah,
and
just because
I think we're gonna feed off each other.
We're going off, so we should just
Yeah.
go off each other a little bit.
Yeah.
My number 1 pick, baby, is
Daddy.
fucking Climax.
Yeah.
Gaspar Noé is a savage. I was pretty confident that First Man was gonna take the first position, was gonna take the cake, but then Climax. I watched Climax and I was entranced. I was
Hypnotized.
hypnotized.
Climax.
I climaxed during this movie, man.
No, just I knew that when I was watching it that it had been a long time since I had seen a film that just took me to a place that I had never been before.
Totally.
I knew that I was watching one of the greatest films I'd ever seen in my life. I knew that I found a classic that 20, 30 years down the road, I'm going to look at this film with fond memories. And just, it's going to be my college film.
It already feels like a classic.
It is
for me.
our college
every
film.
time
man.
every time I rewatch it,
Yeah.
just hanging out with these fucking characters and
Yeah.
seeing the subtleties of their motivations and seeing them in the background doing things that just make sense so much for the characters and their motivations.
There's tens upon tens upon tens of things going on in every single frame.
Yeah.
For every single second of the entire runtime, and it just doesn't stop. The film peaks the entire runtime, and I'm just like, holy fuck. For the whole movie, just everything about it, the soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks that's out there. The cinematography.
Didn't shout out Rolling Stones' Angie at the end there.
Yeah, the
but
instrumental.
That's a good
so
Yeah.
good.
Just-
When they burst through the door and
Yeah.
Angie starts playing.
Oh my god, just everything. And Sophia Boutella is the only actress in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's great in it. A lot of possession things going on there.
Yeah.
But the rest of the cast,
incredible.
they're all amazing. None of them are actors. There's one guy, they're all fantastic, but there's one guy in specific. I can't for the life of me think of his name in the movie or what his name is in real life, but one of the cousins who's having that really hilarious but vulgar discussion with his other cousin. Yeah, and just I don't know, it didn't even feel like I was watching a movie with the guy acting when he was on screen. I just felt like I was watching just real people slowly trip balls. And I don't know what else to say, to be honest. There's just so much to appreciate. The upside, he Birdman's the second half. The camera...
it's mind-blowing how he did that with the second half of the movie. Like, think about it. He's been filming the same shot for like 35 minutes. Yeah. You know, he must be behind the camera going, okay, I'm 35 minutes in. Yeah. What does he do? He probably took coke for this movie too. Like he did with the
like we did with the Irreversible. But he's like, I'm 35 minutes in. What does he do next? He fucking flips the camera upside down somehow and gives us one of the most mind-blowing, trippiest, but just engrossing scenes I've ever seen out of a movie.
That upside down scene is just...
It's fucking nuts. Yeah. Like, with that song Utopia going on. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, climax just really just fucks me up. There's too much to say about it. Yeah, it's so disturbing but so watchable. I mean... Yeah, you're disturbed but really enjoying yourself at the same time, which I don't think you can say for all of Gaspar Noé's movies. No, definitely not Irreversible. Really. Definitely not.
But
no way.
It's just a perfect balance of disturbing but enjoyment. And I just had such a blast, and I've seen it a few times. I plan on seeing it again really, really soon. I'm going to pick it up on Blu-ray as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does get released.
Yeah, I think it will, to be honest. But because it's A24.
Yeah, it's already released on Blu-ray.
It got an Arrow release in the UK, which is
A24 is going to come in clutch, I feel. But yeah, just a movie that... The only movie that came out in 2018 that had my attention and interest for every single second of the film.
Totally.
The only one.
There's no weak points in the movie.
No weak points, and I can't say that for any other film. Not even the other films on my top 10. But Climax is just like, I love First Man, and like I said, I think it's a masterpiece. But Climax is just the easiest number one spot I've ever, or not ever, but. It's just such an easy number one label to give for me.
Totally. Like I said, very, very, very close second place.
Yeah.
We've talked about this movie so much.
Yeah.
I wish I liked it more. I'm gonna watch it again and see.
Yeah, you gotta see it in theaters.
I wish I liked
see it in theaters. Don't
theaters
watch it.
Increased my like.
Don't watch it on projector. See it in theaters.
Yeah.
It's so good in the theater. It's fucking nuts.
All right, Matt. Drop that number one on
All
us.
right. So I do think Roma is better than this movie, but if I'm just talking my favorite movie, no movie surprised me and came out of nowhere to have me loving it as much as Blind Spotting.
Don't pick.
Kirk, you haven't seen it yet,
I
right?
haven't seen it, but I really want to.
Yeah,
continue.
Everything
Shout out,
about
Let's
it.
Be Cops.
Oh
Sorry. No, I'm just joking. I that's just a stupid meme I made.
It's a funny meme though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the script for this movie. It balances important shit and comedy really well, in my opinion. Daveed Diggs is phenomenal in his role.
He's great, yeah.
Rafael Casal, really I really enjoyed, and then I realized that he's actually a well-spoken poet, so now I just appreciate his performance even more. It has some of the best scenes I saw all year, especially the big... I won't spoil it, but the scene in the end is so fucking incredible.
It is great, yeah.
I've watched the movie 3 times now, and even if I don't watch the whole movie and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch scenes from Blind Spotting, I am frozen for like 3-4 minutes just watching that scene.
Yeah.
it just hits me so hard for
Mhm.
whatever
It's a really
reason.
good scene.
Yeah.
And like they balance race in such an interesting way because it's not just talking about race from a black perspective. You have Daveed Diggs' character struggling with how his black identification messes with his life, but then you also have his buddy who grew up in the same neighborhood but is white, and how he has to sort of prove his identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
definitely
explored
good in
well
the
for
film.
sure.
As much as I loved Roma, I haven't come back to a movie so much and wanting to so much more as I did with this one.
True.
For sure, yeah, and definitely rewatchability is plays a huge factor in making this list, and
Kirk, I definitely think you should see Blind Spotting.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you'll.
I
I
think
think
you'll
you'll.
fuck with
I think
it
you'll
hard.
really fuck with it.
Yeah,
And-
this is like the big like disadvantage to not being Matt is that he's seen everything, then.
yeah,
Except for Burning, which is like,
and
Yeah.
I enjoyed Blind Spotting, but I'm clearly like there's clearly something wrong with me. Like it really struck a chord with so many people, and I totally understand why. And I had the similar feelings to If Beale Street Could Talk, which I appreciate and admire, like Blind Spotting, but I just. And I just, especially the intentions behind it, I just, it didn't struck the chord with me like it did with you, and I totally understand why it did, and it did with a lot of people too. So I might have to give it another rewatch soon.
Also, I just want to shout out the hairdressing scene alongside the big one at the end. I love so much.
Yeah.
It's just so
Yeah.
funny. Fuck Alfred
Yeah.
Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And them should not. Fuck him too. Makes me nervous.
Yeah, that's definitely a funny scene. That was a highlight.
Yeah, love that movie.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch it for sure. You got me hyped on rewatching it, to be honest.
yeah, you got me hyped on checking out this movie for the first time.
I think you'll really love it.
Yeah, I'm getting
excited to hear your
recommendations from
thoughts.
everyone over here, so
Yeah.
definitely one I need to check out. Also, American Animals. That was one I like really wanted to watch before this, especially because of John Waters, my soul animal, as they say in the business. His love of this movie.
Yeah, in the business they say that Kirk Percival's soul animal is John Waters.
No, like you know the phrase.
I know,
My
I
soul animal.
know, it's a joke. It was a joke.
Yeah.
All right, should we just combine the two of you for your number
Well,
one?
hold up. It may be different here. My number one pick here, for the 17th year in the row, Rob Minkoff's Stuart Little 2. All right, 17 years in a row, this movie has been my number one movie of the year every year. All right, it's so good. Just the performance of the mouse and the cat, their dynamic between the two is just insane.
Nice.
All right, moving on. Victor's number. Well, okay. Victor and
Just
I.
combine them, yeah.
Alphonse Cuarón,
Roma.
Roma. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. I guess.
Breathtaking
Yeah.
movie. I mean,
I'll just say my little 2 cents here. Like I said earlier, First Reformed was the movie that felt was the one I could relate to the most on a personal level. But for me, one of the greatest achievements of cinema is taking me to a world and exploring a world that is unfamiliar to me, and
that's so foreign. Yeah.
enhancing my general awareness of the world and making me understand the world from different perspectives, different tastes, different feelings, different perspectives. And both Burning and Roma really did that for me, but Roma did it on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
It's such a personal, deeply personal film from Alfonso Cuarón that just takes a setting, a time period, a place, and gives it such a feel of being real.
Totally.
Even though it's a place of memory that existed in the past, it feels like it the world of Roma is breathing. There's so much life in the movie.
Totally.
And few filmmakers can do that to the extent that Alfonso Cuarón does in this movie.
Yeah.
With all the long takes, not only do you have the impressive ones like the beach scene,
How did you get that shot, man?
Never seen
the
a
word
shot
I
like that
would,
before. My man.
a lot of shots in this are impressive. I meant to say the more less subtle long takes. You have the riot and the beach scene, but you also have some more subtle great shots in this film, like when the luchador or whatever is doing his poses, and all the extras there are following him and stuff, and they're all struggling to maintain the stance, and then Cleo just delivers and shows how powerful she is.
Totally.
And this just feels like such a personal love letter that it couldn't not be my number one of the year.
Yeah.
The minute I saw this movie, it just overthrew every other experience I had in the cinema in 2019.
Totally.
That's my 2 cents on Roma.
Yeah. What blows me away with this film is I don't know how Alfonso achieves such a massive scale with simultaneously feeling so close and intimate with the characters and with
Yeah, that's similar to what I said with First Man. I think both films achieve that.
Yeah.
Feeling so grandiose yet so personal at the same time.
Yeah, it's so easy to get lost in the spectacle of Roma's insane cinematography and huge scope, but it's brought back down with Yalitza's incredible performance and her incredible presence, which just is so present throughout the film and is felt so much for me emotionally the entire time. And it's so beautiful. It's such a soothing film to watch, and it's there's so many moments where it almost gives you anxiety, like the hospital scene, the beach scene.
That's all a good long take, the one in the hospital.
Yeah.
That doesn't use camera movement.
That scene just had me shook. This movie's just so overwhelmingly beautiful. And like you said, Kirk, there's no way it couldn't be my number one of the year. Yeah.
There really isn't a shot in it that isn't gorgeous too. Even the opening where she's just throwing water on the floor, it's somehow really interesting.
Totally. Well, with the reflection
stories.
Plane.
And that's something that I don't know, maybe you could take as something from Tarkovsky, because we've all stolen from Tarkovsky.
I've stolen many things from him. We all have. Tarkovsky.
But yeah, Roma's
He's
excellent.
a master.
So good.
What else can be said? I mean, sound, cinematography, performances.
Roma's so personal that you need to go and experience this film for yourself.
On the big screen.
And it's amazing that Alfonso Cuarón can make such a personal film that is expressed from a different point of view.
Totally.
And I think that shows how sympathetic of a person he is, and especially of this character.
That's a good point.
How important, and how important this story is to Cuarón, and you understand why he wanted to tell this story.
Yeah, it's sort of not just with Cleo's character, but I found it to be really cool that Roma's sort of Cuarón's homage to the women in his life growing up. Not just with Cleo, but his mother as well.
And his grandmother.
And his grandmother. Yeah. It's just all the mother figures in his life.
It just it's such a touching movie. It feels like it comes from such a place of love that
I love that, just the fact that 4 white dudes can come together in a room and just be taken be taken to this place of 1970s Mexico and just have it understand that place from such a deep and understanding way. And I don't know, to me that's one of the most powerful things cinema can do, and Roma does it amazingly.
Yeah,
it definitely
completely
deserves
agree.
number 1 slot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies, period.
So, any quick reflections on your guys' lists here? Because any observations? Like we already said, 2019 or 2018 was a great year for dance scenes.
Yep.
Any other quick reflections here? I already also made the comparison of Sorry to Bother You and not Call Me by Your Name. What the Black Klansman having similar vibes there. I did not expect my list to turn out the way it did.
I did not at all.
Like
in the past few months, I've had at least 3 or 4 on my list, and then a couple outside just messed everything up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect to love Roma so much. I knew I would like it, but I did not expect to love it.
Yeah, and a lot of that is the theatrical experience. Because I remember, you said that you guys, you and your family started it at home.
At home on Netflix.
I did that too. Turn it off like right
and you,
away.
how far did you get?
We got like 25 minutes in.
I got
and you were enjoying it, right?
I was enjoying it, but I was like not loving it. Like I was definitely enjoying it, but yeah, I wasn't going crazy over it.
It was all about the 70, like the theater experience.
The 70 millimeter.
And you can't go 25 minutes into that film and like
no, I mean
expect to get the same result.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a experience that's built over time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, I found it interesting that 2 Netflix exclusives made my list. Like that's ridiculous to
Buster
me.
Scruggs.
Buster Scruggs and Roma.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just proves that Netflix is doing their best to make a presence in the market, because like they've had some like pretty mediocre releases so far, and I feel like this has been a big year in terms of Netflix movies, both Buster Scruggs and Roma.
They really don't deserve to be qualified for the Academy Awards, though. I'm kidding.
All right, Mr.
Steven.
Yeah. Every movie deserved to be nominated except for Roma and Buster Scruggs. Okay. Such BS.
Yeah.
And again, so surprising to me that Avengers Infinity War, like I liked as much as I did. Like to me that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Bo Burnham too. Like it's surprising.
Yeah.
This year was just full of surprises for me, and
I didn't think, if you like the start of the year, if you had told me a Peter Jackson directed movie was going to be on my top 10, because I thought the guy was lost.
He hasn't really made any good movies.
Recently.
Yeah, recently.
Dude,
our audience can't see your facial expression right now.
I'm kidding, obviously.
He's kidding. He says that because Lord of the Rings.
Sarcasm does not translate well through facial expressions over podcasts.
You know,
we need to overlay Victor's smirk,
or just the word sarcasm.
Yeah.
But Peter Jackson made my 3 favorite movies of all time. So, and then he just kind of drifted away after that.
Yeah.
With the Hobbit films being underwhelming and Lovely Bones being garbage. And I didn't know that this was being made at the start of the year, and then all of a sudden the trailer for this documentary just dropped, and then it came so high on my list, and that was for me the big surprise.
Also, if you told me, like, so many surprises. Like if you told me Netflix was going to release an Orson Welles film this year.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I actually knew that was happening, but
or if you told me that Yorgos Lanthimos wouldn't make my top 10, and again Avengers would be on there instead, I would slap you. I would.
Yeah.
I never thought that would happen. So again, 2018 full of surprises for me. Really excited for 2019.
If you would have told me that Peter Farrelly, the director of Dumb and Dumber and There's Something About Mary, would be an 2-time Academy Award winner, I would have been like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I would have said it like Viggo Mortensen's character in Green Book. Get out of here.
Yeah. Anything else to sum us up here, guys?
Great year for movies.
Honestly,
Very
fantastic. For me, best year since 2014. Personally, going by memory.
I like
year was
2017.
Yeah, 2017 is a bit higher for me.
Especially like the sort of awards contention movies. 2017.
Oh,
a lot better batch than this year.
For in that vein, yeah. Also,
Green Book and Vice.
Also, we should address
Bohemian Rhapsody.
we should address that. We had Climax on our lists, but we're kind of unsure if it counts as a 2018 or a 2019 film. But we saw it early enough that we just had to, and it got released in Cannes, so we just had to have it on our list. So even though we may love it more than, like Victor and I, we may love it more than some films from next year that will be on next year's list. If it's not on that list, it's because obviously you're listening to this podcast. It's on this list.
Yeah, like
we'll address that in the 2019 podcast.
Like for example, like Thoroughbreds, you could take that as a 2017 release.
Yeah, same with First Reform.
But those are both on my 2018 list. It's just about when Canada gets the releases, so that's what we base it on.
You Were Never Really Here almost made my list, and that's debatable 2017 or 2018.
All right.
Paddington 2 is a big debatable one because that had a full release in England.
Yeah.
But no, it's all about when we get over here. All right, guys. So thanks for listening. If you made it this far in, and Gucci. Bye.